Hello everyone, welcome to all for the lecture series of Naval Architecture for MEO examination. If you are visiting my channel first time, please like, share and subscribe. Also, don't forget to press a bell icon to get the exciting lectures on naval architecture. Hello everyone, this is the lecture number 12 of the lecture series of Naval Architecture made for the MEO examination. In this lecture, we are going to discuss about the numerical integration. What is the purpose of the numerical integration in the ship design? That all the things we will discuss one by one. Now, so consider that so what is the meaning of a numerical integration? Numerical integration. Why we are using the numerical integration and what is the meaning of a numerical integration? Now, in earlier class, we have seen that how to calculate the buoyant force. We have seen buoyant force formula is rho v into g. Now, in this formula, you see that there is something called as a v, underwater volume is term is there. This is the underwater volume of the ship. Suppose if you want to calculate the underwater volume for a ship, how we are going to calculate? So in this numerical integration, we are going to calculate the underwater volume. How to calculate? That is the part of the study. We will do that. Now, if you remember in our college in fluid mechanics, we have studied about something called as a BM. We are going to discuss in depth about this BM in our upcoming classes. BM we will call as a metacentric radius. So this metacentric radius, there is one formula called as a I by V. I by V. I is the moment of inertia of the water plane and V is the underwater volume. So if you know moment of inertia, if you know the underwater volume, you can easily find out the metacentric radius. And if you know the metacentric radius, you can easily find out the GM, that is called as a metacentric height. Metacentric height. At this moment, you will not understand this word metacentric height, but we are going to spend a lot of time on this BM and GM in upcoming classes. But at this moment, why I am discussing this, you should know whatever the numerical integration you are doing, what is the use of this numerical integration in upcoming classes. So this is the reason that I am discussing what is the application of this numerical integration in the upcoming classes. So just emphasizing here about the wordings. Okay, so if you know the GM, you can say that whether the ship is stable or the unstable, like that. Okay, so at this moment you just try to understand we need to calculate the GM, and to calculate the GM you should know BM, and if you want to know BM you should have the idea about I and V. I is the moment of inertia of the water plane and V is the underwater volume. Now to calculate the moment of inertia, to calculate the underwater volume, we need to perform the numerical integration. Okay, nowadays we have a very good softwares are available with us, like we have AutoCAD, we have CATIA, like this different modeling softwares are available, and by the one click you will get the values. Like for example, take the ship only, and you have a ship like this. I'm looking the ship in a profile view, and this is the one of the water line, and at this water line I will take the projection like this, and this will be a corresponding water plane. This is the corresponding water plane. If I ask you find out the area of this water plane, if I ask you, we know that there is no such direct formula to calculate the water plane area. Like suppose if you have any rectangle, if you have any square, if you have any circle. So this is a general bodies, and this is general definition diagrams are there. So from this diagram you can easily find out the formulas, because these formulas are available. For example, this is the length of the rectangle, this is the beam of the rectangle. If I ask find out the area of this body, so you can say L into B. Like this you can easily find out the area of this known bodies. Okay, but and this is a regular shape body, but this underwater this is water plane area is not a regular body, it is a irregular shape object. You cannot find by using just a small formula, you cannot find that. But nowadays we have a software. In that software, if you go and you just press over this area, you will get directly the answer what is the area of that water plane. But what we are going to discuss now, whatever the things are going inside the software, because whatever the things are happening at the back end of the software, that we don't know. What we are doing, just in a CATIA or in AutoCAD, we are taking our cursor over there and pressing over the water plane area, and you will get the area directly. But you don't know what are the processes happening behind that one click. So in today's class we are discussing that what are the things are happening at the back end in the software, that we are going to discuss now, and we are going to do the all our hand calculations to calculate these water plane areas of irregular shape bodies. We are going to calculate the areas of the irregular shape body. We are going to find out the areas of volume of the irregular shape bodies. That all the things we are going to discuss in this class. Okay, so one by one I will start that. The calculations, what are the things we are going to see in this lecture. Calculations for water plane area, calculation for the cross-sectional areas. We will see this cross-sectional area. Third is a calculation of centroid of water plane area, and final one is calculation of underwater volume, of a ship. Then calculation of centroid of underwater volume. Then moment of inertia of water plane. Moment of inertia of the water plane. These are the 6 things we are going to calculate for our ship. Now, why I was using the word irregular bodies? If you see our ship ship is not a regular shaped body. If you see from the top, if you see the ship from the top, it will look like this. What is the meaning of this? The forward part of the ship is a narrow, then parallel made body is little bit bulgy, and then again it will become a narrow. So this is not a regular ship. So you can easily calculate the area of the ship or area of the water plane. You cannot calculate. So for that purpose, we need to use some numerical integration method to calculate this all the 6 parameters which I have discussed just now. So before that, we will see something about some geometry of the ship, because I am going to use this word again and again. So you should know that geometrical part. So first thing is about what is the water plane area. What is the water plane? Water plane and water plane area. What is the meaning of that? So take a ship is like this. You have a ship. The ship is like this. I am looking the ship in the profile view, and at a different water line. So this is the water line 0. Take the water line 1. I am taking very less water line here. If you have more water line, the answers will be always correct, and it will be nearer to the correct answer. So the intention of drawing the water line is different here. Now to discuss about what is meant by water plane, that is my intention. So this is the center line of the ship. I am looking from the top. I am looking from the top and take the projections of this water line like this. And draw the water. I am looking from the top. You think that I have taken one plane which is parallel to the water surface and passing through the water line 0. Passing through the water line 0, and I am cutting the ship at that water line 0 and looking from the top how it will look. It will look like this. It will look like this. So this is your water plane. This is the water plane. I am repeating once again. I will take one plane parallel to the water surface, and that is passing through the water line 0. It is passing through the water line 0. Think that that plane is cutting the ship at that water line 0, and I am looking from the top. How ship will look like. It will look like this. Okay, so this is the one of the plane at a water line 0. We will call the water plane 0. We will call it as a water plane 0. And corresponding area of this water plane we will call as a water plane area. So you can see here, this is again an irregular shape body. This is the irregular shape body. So if I ask you find out the area of this irregular shape body, you cannot use any direct formula. We don't have any formula. So for that purpose, you have to use the numerical integration. Okay. So this is a water plane 0. If I ask you find out the water plane 1, so again take the projections like this. Take the projections like this. And if you see from the top, it will look like this. The water plane 1 will be always greater than the water plane 0. Like this. So water plane 1 will be always greater than the water plane 0 in case of a ship. As you go from the keel to the deck and you calculate the water plane area, the water plane area is always going to increase. Okay, this is the one thing. The second thing is this red color line we will call as the center line of the ship. This is the center line of the ship. So if you see, the ship is always symmetric about the center line. So what is the meaning of this? This area which I have shown in the black color, and area which is in a blue color. For the water plane 1 I am talking now, this both the areas is the same. This both the areas is same. It is just a mirror image. So ship is always symmetric about the central line. So if you do the calculation for the half part of the ship for calculating the water plane area, that is enough. You just finally multiply by 2, you will get the full water plane area. So if you draw like this, what I am saying now, it is like this. You can take, this is one of the water plane, and this is the only half part of the water plane, and this is the central line of the ship. There will be a mirror image on another side. There will be a mirror image like this. This is the mirror image only. So if you do the calculation only for this part, that is more than enough, and calculate the water plane area of the half part, multiply by 2, you will get the full water plane area. You will get the full water plane area. Okay, this thing you keep in your mind. So this is a water plane as well as we will call as a water plane area. The second word which I was using in the class, and today's class also I have used the word. The second word is called as a cross-sectional area. So what is the meaning of cross-sectional area? Which area I am talking now about the cross-sectional area? So that means this is the forward part of the ship. This is the aft part of the ship. For the forward I am writing in short FWT, and this is the aft part of the ship. This is the central line of the ship. This is the central line of the ship. Now I am drawing some areas here like this. Like this I am drawing some areas. So these areas, you can see this black color which I have shown earlier, this one, then this one. These areas is called as a cross-sectional areas. Cross-sectional area. So please keep in your mind this word, cross-sectional area. So we have seen water plane area, we have seen what is the meaning of cross-sectional area. Okay, so these two words I am going to use again and again in this class. I hope all of you understood this difference between the water plane area and the cross-sectional area. Now we will move to the topic, what are the things we are going to calculate and how we are going to calculate. So numerical integration we can do with the help of some the existing formulas. Numerical integration we can do with the help of some existing formulas. That is called as some rules are available with us, called as a trapezoidal rule. Trapezoidal rule. This is the first rule. With the help of this rule we can calculate the area of the water plane, area of the cross sections and the underwater volume. All the things we can do with the help of a trapezoidal rule. And the second rule which we are going to use, that is a Simpson's rule. The second rule is called as a Simpson's rule. The Simpson's rules also having two different rules. We will call it as the Simpson's first rule. Sometimes we will call it with Simpson's 1/3 rule. Simpson's 1/3 rule. And Simpson's second rule also is there. Second rule, that is called as a Simpson's 3/8 rule. Simpson's 3/8 rule. So with the help of these two rules, we are going to calculate the areas, volume, centroid of the ships. Okay, so we will see one by one in upcoming class. Our lectures will be very interesting and you will enjoy the lectures. Just only this is the starting of the naval architecture. You can say the starting of the ship stability. So please be patient and try to understand the concepts. Whenever you are going to solve any numericals, specifically for this chapter, I will suggest all of you carry your notebook as well as a pen with you. Don't listen only, do the calculation yourself, then only you will understand the concept. Otherwise it will be very difficult to understand the concept. Now coming to the trapezoidal rule and how to proceed for that. So to understand this, we will take first trapezoidal rule and then we will move for the Simpson's rule. So what we are going to do in the trapezoidal rule? Consider that I have one area with me. Consider some area is there like this, and okay, instead of that I will take a little bit curve. It is looking like trapezoidal rule. So this is a irregular shape object is there, and you can say this A, B, C, D, and I want to find out the area made by this A, B, C, D. Okay, this area I have to find out. This is my task. This is my task. So how to proceed for that? Before that, you need to understand that what are the things will be given. Like if you have a rectangle, and if I ask find out the area of the rectangle, so you will ask, sir, please tell me what is length or what is the breadth of the rectangle. Then we have a formula for the area, L into B. You can easily find out the area. But in this case, what are the things will be given? What are the things will be given? So given thing will be like this. So this is the vertical lines. You can see these vertical lines which I have shown now, these black color lines. These lines we are calling as these lines we are going to call as ordinates. These lines we are going to call as ordinates, and these ordinates will be given quantity. Ordinates will be given quantity. Then the ordinate is not sufficient to calculate the area. There will be a spacing between the each consecutive ordinate should be given. That I am calling as a H. The spacing between the each consecutive ordinates is called as a H, and that in our naval architecture we are calling the spacing means spacing. We will call as a intervals. We will call as a intervals. Okay. So there are two quantities will be given to you. First is the ordinate and second is the interval. These two quantities will be given and they will ask find out the area of this A, B, C, D. So there are two things is required for doing the calculations. The first thing is ordinates and the spacing, also we will call as the intervals. So if you have these two quantities, then only you can calculate the area under this curve, that is the A, B, C, D. So, and one more thing which I want to tell here, that ordinate is a general word. Ordinate is a general word. Ordinates may be a linear dimension. It means it may be a length, or ordinates may be a area, whatever may be. The ordinates is a general word I am using here. Ordinates may be a linear dimension or ordinates may be a area. You can understand easily one by one once we start discussing all the things. So at this moment, so how to calculate the area under this ABCD curve? So what the things we are going to do now? Consider that now there are three ordinates and there are two intervals. So what I will do now? This curve is there. So I will make two regions here, A1 and A2. These two regions are there, and these two regions, in these two regions, I will make like this. So the top of these two consecutive ordinates, I am going to join like this with a straight line, like this. Then this also I am going to join with a straight line. It means that now there are two regions, so whole one region I have made with the two regions, and there will be a like a trapezoid. The trapezoid will look like this. So this is the one trapezoid. This is a one trapezoid. So this is the trapezoid number 1. I will call it the A1, and this is the trapezoid number 2. I will call it as a A2. So what I will do now, we have these ordinates. I will call that ordinates as a y0, y1 and y2. So this y0, y1, y2 is ordinates, and the spacing between each consecutive ordinates is h. So what I will do now, this is the area region number 1 we are calling as a A1, region number 2 is a A2. So I will calculate the area of the region number 1 by using the trapezoidal formula. So we know that the trapezoidal formula is like this. Suppose you have a trapezoid like this, and if you have this, I can call as a y1, and I can call as this is a y0, and this the depth is h. If this is the condition, so what will be the area of this trapezoid? It will be y0 plus y1 divided by 2 into h. y0 plus y1 divided by 2 into h. Like this you can use the formula to calculate the area under the trapezoid. Same thing we can do here. So we have a y0 plus y1. The only depth is a horizontal now, that we are going to consider. So it's like this. It's like this. So this is a y0, y1, and this is a h. So this is a horizontal. I have made it vertical. That's all. Nothing is going to change. The formula will remains the same. So how to proceed for that? So you have a trapezoid here. So A1, this is a A2, y0, y1, y2, and the spacing between each coordinate is h. Now what I am going to do, I will use the trapezoidal rule here to calculate the total area. That will be A1 plus A2, and A1 will become a y0 plus y1 by 2 into h. plus y1 plus y2 divided by 2 into h. So you can take here h by 2 common, h by 2 becomes into y0 plus 2y1 plus y2. So this is the formula for calculating the area under this curve by using the trapezoidal rule. Now few things which I want to tell you here, that I told you that if the ordinates means, now this is a very important thing you can write as a note, if the ordinates are length, after using the formula of a trapezoidal rule, you will get the area. If the ordinates are the length, after using the formula of trapezoidal rule, you will get the area, which we have done just now. The second thing which you have to understand here, that if the ordinates are, this is the point number 2, if the ordinates are areas, after using the formula of the trapezoidal rule, you will get a volume. This is a very important thing. So it is not mean that the trapezoidal rule is used only for the calculating the area. It is not like that. That depends on what is the ordinates. If the ordinates is a length, then after using the trapezoidal rule, you will get the areas. If the ordinates are the areas, after using the trapezoidal rule, you will get the volume. That you have to keep in your mind. The mathematics behind the formula doesn't change. It will be remains same only. Only physics is going to change. That you need to understand in case of this numerical integration. Now, one more thing which you have to understand here. So this is the formula. So whatever the note we have seen, that I am repeating once again. If you are taking y0, y1 and y2 are the length dimensions, then you will get the area. After using the trapezoidal rule. If you are using y0, y1, y2 are the areas, then you will get the volume after using the trapezoidal rule. Okay, so these are the things you have to understand from the trapezoidal rule. One more thing that you have to understand here, the minimum requirement of ordinates, that you have to understand here, minimum requirement of the ordinates. So note number 3, minimum requirement of ordinates are 3. You should have a minimum 3 ordinates. Then only you can use the trapezoidal rule for calculating the area as well as the volume. Okay, I hope everything is clear from the trapezoidal rule. We will do one numerical on the trapezoidal rule, and then we'll end the class. In the next class, we are going to see how to utilize the Simpson's rule and why Simpson's rule came into the picture, although we have a trapezoidal rule with us. So, how to do the calculations for the trapezoidal rule for calculation of the areas as well as the volume. So this is the actual formula for the calculating the area as well as the volume by using the trapezoidal rule. But now in this in front of you only we have taken the three ordinates. So by using the formula calculating the area as well as the volume, it will be very easy. But if you have ordinates is 10 or 15 or 20 ordinates, if you have doing the calculation only by writing this type of formula, it will be very difficult. There might be chances that you will make some mistake. So to avoid that, what we are going to do, we are converting this formula in the form of a table, which you can see in front of you. So how I am going to make now, you can see here, you have these three ordinates are there, y0, y1 and y2. The spacing between the ordinates is h. I am writing the same formula in terms of this tabular form. So you can see here sections I have called 1, 2, 3. These are the sections. 1, 2, 3 sections are there. And this is, I have mentioned the half ordinate. I mean, this is the half part. There will be this mirror image will be there on another side. That is a half ordinate. That's the reason I am calling as a half ordinate. Y0, Y1, Y2. Now I have written here a trapezoidal multiplier. What is this trapezoidal multiplier? If you see in this formula, there will be a coefficients of y0, y1 and y2. If you see the coefficient of y0 is 1. Coefficient of y1 is a 2, coefficient of y2 is a 1. So whatever the coefficients are there, that coefficients we are calling as a trapezoidal multiplier. And that I am writing in a vertical way like this, 1, 2, 1. In front of y0, 1 is there, in front of y1, you have a 2, in front of y2, I have a 1. Then here I have written as a function of area. Suppose if this ordinates is a length quantity, I have written in the meter. If your ordinates is in the length quantity, you can write this will be a function of a one area. If the ordinates is the area, so it will become a function of a volume. Okay. Now in this case, I have taken as ordinates as a length. It is in meter, centimeter, kilometer, like that. So it will be a function of area. So what is this function of area? Function of area, I will give the column number now. Column number 1, 2, 3, 4. Column number 4 becomes column number 2 multiplied by column number 3. So y0 into 1. So it will be 1 into y0. y1 into 2, 2 into y1. y2 into 1, 1 into y2. So do the algebraic summation of this, that I am calling here summation of f of a, and that is equal to y0, 1 y0 plus 2 y1 plus 1 y2, and that is same as that of this one. So whatever the number is coming here, that won't be an area, that will be function of area. After whatever the value you will get here, you have to multiply with h by 2. You have to multiply with h by 2, then only you will get the actual area. Let's do one numerical on the basis of a trapezoidal rule. So initially we will do the simplest numerical. So as we have seen, the trapezoidal rule for the calculation of the area as well as the volume, you can write like this. So area A is equal to h by 2 into 1 y0 plus 2 y1 plus 1 y2. So in this formula, this 1, 2 and this 1, 1, 2, 1, we will call this 1, 2, 1 as a trapezoidal multipliers. 1, 2, 1 is a trapezoidal multipliers. Now one more thing you have to understand here before starting the numerical. If this y0, y1 and y2, generally I am going to call as ordinates. The general name for this y0, y1 and y2 is the ordinates. Now if if this y0, y1 and y2 are linear dimensions. If it is a linear dimensions, then after using the trapezoidal rule, you will get area. You will get the area. This is the first important note. The second one is if y0, y1 and y2 are areas, then after using the trapezoidal rule, you will get a volume. Okay, so this formula, it is not only for the calculating the area. So if you are taking this y0, y1, y2 is the linear parameters like a length, then you will get the area. If you are taking y0, y1, y2 are the areas, then you will get the volume after using this trapezoidal rule. Okay, so let's do one numerical. Simplest numerical we will take now. Consider that I have one water plane area, so I will take only half water plane area. This is the top view of one of the water plane area, and I have taken only, and this is the center line of the ship. We know that the ship is symmetric about the center line, so the same mirror image will be there at the bottom. So what I will do now, I will take the three ordinates here, y0, y1 and y2. Okay, so as I already told that always try to solve this trapezoidal rule numericals in the form of a tables. That will be always good, you can easily understand, and there is a chances of less mistakes. So I will write like this: section number, you can say. So I will write as a section, then half ordinates, and then we can say trapezoidal multipliers, and then function of area, provided this ordinate should be linear dimension. So I will write as a meter here, or centimeter, whatever may be, it should be a linear dimension. If the ordinates is a linear dimension, this will be function of area. If ordinates is a meter square, then this will be function of a volume. That you have to keep in your mind. At this moment I am taking the half ordinates as the linear dimensions. Now how many sections are there? Now we have a 3 section, 1, 2, 3, and you can take the values. Y0, in this case it is 0, y1 you can take a 0.5, and y2 also 0. The same thing I am writing here, 0, 0.5 and then again 0. Then trapezoidal multiplier, in this case it will be 1, 2, 1. Then just a minute, I will give a column number that will be easy to understand: 1, 2, 3 and 4. So column number 4 will be column number 2 multiplied by column number 3. So just do the multiplication of these two. 1 into 0, it will be 0. 0.5 into 2, it will be 1. 1 into 0, it will be 0. Finally you will get the summation of function of a, it will be 1. So the function of area doesn't have any units. It is just a unitless. It is a 1. It is not an actual area. It is a function of area. But if you want to find out the actual area, then we have to use this formula. Area is equal to h by 2 into 1 into y0 plus 2 into y1 plus 1 into y2, and this whole thing we can write as a summation of function of a, and which we have already calculated here. So and one more thing which I forgot to tell you, this h. So h is a full spacing here, so h you can take as a 1 meter. So take the value of h here, 1 by 2 into function of area, already we have calculated from the table, that is a column number 4, into 1. So you will get 1 by 2 meter square. So the area of this water plane is 1 by 2. But whatever the water area you got here, that is the half water plane area. If the question is for the full water plane area, you have to multiply with the 2 to this formula in the starting itself. So it will be 2 by 2, it will be 1 meter square. So this is the water plane area. So like this you can do the calculation by using the trapezoidal rule. So what we have seen the three ordinates only, and we have seen how to utilize the trapezoidal rule. But if you have the ordinates more than 3, then how to utilize the trapezoidal rule? So for that purpose, one more condition that you need to understand. So again I will write as a note only. Minimum number of ordinates should be 3. This is the first note, and a very important note. And second one is number of intervals should be completely divisible by 2. So what is the meaning of this? Suppose if you have a ordinates if you have a 3 ordinates and equal spacing, you can say equal intervals. So you have a y0, y1 and y2. Like you have a 3 ordinates. So how many intervals are there? If you have a 3 ordinates minus 1, you will get the number of intervals. So in this case you have a 2 intervals. And if this number of intervals is completely divisible by 2, then you can use the trapezoidal rule. Completely divisible by 2, it means that there should not be any remainder. Okay, so that's the reason now in this case we can use the trapezoidal rule. I will give one more example. I have a y0, y1, y2, y3 and y4. Now in this case I have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 intervals ordinates are there. So number of ordinates minus 1, you will get the number of intervals. So number of intervals will be number of ordinates minus 1. So in this case number of ordinates are 5. 5 minus 1, it will be 4. So 4 is completely divisible by 2. There is no remainder here. So in this case also you can use the trapezoidal rule. So if this is the condition, if you have a number of ordinates more than 3, then how to solve the numericals? By using the trapezoidal rule, that we are going to see now. Now consider there are 5 ordinates. So y0 value is 0, y1, y2, y3, and final one is y4. The spacing between the each consecutive ordinates is same everywhere. I will call as a h. So if this is the condition, now you can see here there are two areas here. There are two areas. Each area contains 3 ordinates. That is the minimum requirement for the trapezoidal rule. So you can see here, this is the area number 1. This is the area number 1 where you have 3 ordinates y0, y1, y2. These are the 3 ordinates are there. After that y2, y3, y4 it will combine, then you have a second area. So there are two areas A1 and A2. Each area contains 3 ordinates. So minimum requirement for the using the trapezoidal rule is satisfied. So what I will do now, total area is equal to A1 plus A2. So what is A1 now? What is A1? How to use the formula for the area? That will be h by 2 y0, 1 y0 plus 2 y1 plus 3 y2 plus h by 2 1 y2 2 y3 and 4 y1. Now you can see this h by 2 you can take it common, so it will be h by 2. The remaining thing will be 1 y0, 2 y1. There was a mistake here. This is a 1. Here also is a 1. Sorry for this. 1 y0 plus 2 y1 plus 1 y2 plus 1 y2 2 y2 plus 1 y1 y4. So if you do this, it will come like this: 1 y0 plus 2 y1 plus 2 y2 plus 2 y3 plus 1 y4, like this. Now you can see the coefficient of each ordinate becomes like this: 1 2 2 2 1, like this. Okay, so if you know the coefficient, this coefficient we are calling as a trapezoidal multiplier. Okay, and this y0, y1, y2, y3, y4, they are ordinates, and whole thing multiplied by h by 2 we are doing, then we are getting the areas. If you have y0, y1, y2, y3, y4, they are areas, then you will get the volume. Now here I am targeting on how to calculate the trapezoidal multipliers 1 2 2 2 1. So that you have to keep in your mind. If you have ordinates more than 3, the trapezoidal multiplier will be look like this. So you can see here, I will give you one more idea how to remember this. You have this area here, y0, y1, y2, y3, y4 and y5. y0, y1, y2, y3, y4 and y5. So area becomes like this. You can take up to y4 only. So for each area, the trapezoidal multiplier, I am going to write below the each ordinates. So it will be 1 2 1. Then y2 is combined between the a1 and a2. So I will write the multiplier below the y2 only, below the earlier multiplier 1 2 1 like this. So if you combine this, if you add this, then you will get the multiplier like this 1 2 2 2 1. So this will be a final multipliers. It will be a final multipliers. Again, I will give one more example so it will be easy to understand. Suppose if I have more than 3 ordinates, and now you can take more than 5 ordinates. You have y0, y1, y2, y3, y4, y5, and y6. So you have now how many ordinates? We have 7 ordinates, and interval is a 6. Intervals is a 6. So ordinate, number of ordinates is a 7. Number of intervals is 7 minus 1, it will be a 6, and 6 is completely divisible by 2. You can use the trapezoidal rule. Everywhere the spacing is same. So if I ask find out the trapezoidal multiplier, in this case how to proceed for that? So you have to create the areas here. Each area contains 3 ordinates. So this is the first area, y0, y1, y2. First area. Then you have y2, y3, y4. This is the second area. y4, y5 and y6. This is the third area. So if you want to write the Simpson's multiplier, you can write like this. Below the each ordinate, I am writing the trapezoidal multipliers 1, 2, 1. y2 is common between the area 1 and area 2. So we have to combine their multipliers also 1, 2, 1. Now y4 is common between a2 and a3. So their multipliers also you have to combine. It will be 1, 2, 1. So final multipliers will be 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 1. So you have to keep in your mind starting with a 1, ending with a 1. So like this you can find out the trapezoidal multipliers, and you can solve the numericals with the help of a trapezoidal rule. I hope everything is clear how to utilize this trapezoidal rule for calculation of the area as well as a calculation of the volume. Thank you very much. We will meet in the next class.